Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating recap that's from the Chicago AI Mastermind session.
Hmm.
And we're looking at how generative AI is, like rapidly moving far beyond just, spitting out text.
Yeah, it's evolving into something much more strategic, isn't it? More insightful.
Exactly. So our source material for this dive, it's packed with insights from their June 13th, 2025 recap.
Right.
Got reflections from experts, practitioners, people really on the front lines of AI innovation.
These are folks doing the work.
Absolutely. And our mission here, for you, the listener, is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from that session,
Okay.
helping you understand how to move from just, well, simply prompting AI
Which is where a lot of people start.
to truly engineering intelligence into your workflows,
Hmm.
and maybe even anticipating what's next.
And right from the start, there was this one idea that really resonated with the group. It was kind of funny, but also really profound.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
It was Meg's reframe of AI. She called it accurate intelligence.
Accurate intelligence. Okay.
Yeah. And it just perfectly captured that universal feeling, that desire we all have for, precision, reliability.
You want it to be right, not
Wait.
just plausible.
Exactly. Plausible, but not dependable. That was the phrase used later. It really sets the stage for how this group is thinking, moving from just like wishful thinking to real strategic action.
Okay, so let's dig into that. Accurate intelligence. The session apparently opened by looking back at past discussions, including a recap of a Notebook LM podcast.
That's right.
And that's where Meg brought this up. You said it instantly clicked.
Instantly, because everyone recognized that feeling, that gap, that common frustration between what we want from AI, something consistently accurate, and what we sometimes get.
Which, yeah, can feel more like a good guess sometimes.
Precisely. And that frustration, it speaks volumes about the growing demand, especially in business, for quality, for clarity, for actual reliability from these AI tools.
It's not just about getting an output anymore.
No, it's about getting an output you can genuinely trust. And that's why the big shift they talked about was moving beyond just basic prompting
Right.
to actively engineering intelligence into the workflows. It's a different mindset.
Engineering intelligence. Can you unpack that a bit? What does that look like?
Well, think about the difference. Like an AI generating a plausible sounding legal argument that's actually completely made up versus providing genuinely accurate intelligence, like a verified case law reference you can confidently act on.
Okay, huge difference in value there.
Huge. And the mastermind group really stressed that this shift from just plausible to actually dependable, that's where the real business value is. It transforms AI from maybe a brainstorming buddy into more of a trusted advisor, or at least a reliable assistant.
Okay, so that focus on engineering precision, needing something you can count on, that led them back to a mantra.
Yeah, one they discussed before, apparently. Train it, trust it, transfer it.
Train it, trust it, transfer it. Sounds simple.
Sounds simple, but it's a framework that members from all sorts of industries were confirming through their own experiences.
So for you listening, what does this actually mean in practice? How do they train it and trust it? Especially that trust part. That seems tricky.
It is tricky, and yeah, people can get stuck there. But each step is deliberate. Train it is really about how you model great inputs for the AI.
Okay, like setup.
Exactly. Being super deliberate about structure, tone, giving it role-specific guidance, you're building a solid foundation.
Right.
Then trust it. This is the iterative part. It means constantly reviewing, refining the model's reasoning, its outputs, to build genuine confidence over time.
Not just taking the first answer.
Absolutely not. It means rigorous testing, validation. Did they share specifics on how? Yeah, some mentioned creating structured validation processes, almost like mini QA cycles for AI outputs.
Okay.
And having multiple humans check the output against a shared rubric. Things like that.
Building that confidence layer by layer.
Precisely. And then finally, transfer it. This is about making it repeatable, codifying what works, turning successful approaches into standard operating procedures, SOPs, or reusable prompt templates, or even building custom GPTs. That's how you scale success across a team or the whole organization.
Okay. Train, trust, transfer. Got it.
And this whole framework, it directly ties into what they called the 3 pillars of AI value creation.
3 pillars. Okay. What are the
First, personal productivity. They called it the expansion of the self.
expansion of the self?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't just AI doing tasks faster. It was about people feeling like they'd almost doubled their capacity.
Like having an instant research assistant.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Or a dedicated editor, always on call. It expands your personal reach, your intellectual output.
Okay, pillar 1. What's 2?
2 is process optimization, described as the liberation of flow.
Liberation of flow. I like that.
It's about finding those bottlenecks, those friction points in your workflow, and using AI to just smooth them out, making things faster, smoother, less prone to human error, unblocking the flow.
Makes sense. And the third?
Third is customer experience. They called it the intimacy of scale.
Intimacy of scale. How does that work? Seems contradictory.
Well, the idea isn't about automating customer service to be less personal. It's about using AI to understand each customer deeply, even if you have millions, and then delivering personalized experiences that feel intimate because they're so relevant.
So using AI for deeper personalization at scale.
Exactly.
So when you put those pillars together with the train, trust, transfer framework, it's really not just about small efficiency gains, is it?
Not at all. It's about building strategic capability.
Right. Moving past the novelty, the shiny object phase.
Yes, into what they termed intentional leverage, being really deliberate about how and why you're using AI.
And it sounds like a big theme was just wanting better results.
Yeah.
Like consistently.
Oh, absolutely. A really consistent thread was this collective, urgent desire to just improve the model outputs.
How so?
Making generative AI more accurate, more aligned with specific goals, more insightful. You heard examples like Jennifer prompting for specific tone calibration, Meg exploring really specific business workflows, Eric warning about, leading prompts that might bias the output.
So everyone's kind of grappling with a how-to of getting better stuff out.
Exactly. And what all that collective effort points to is this core truth. Sure, better inputs lead to better outputs. We know that.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out.
But it's better strategies that unlock truly transformative results.
Okay, strategy over just tactics. Can you give an example of that?
Yeah, like they found mapping the entire user journey first, identifying the friction points before even writing a prompt.
Wow.
And then designing AI interventions specifically for those bottlenecks. That's the kind of strategic thinking that really moved the needle, not just tweaking one prompt in isolation.
So, for you listening, what were some of the practical tools, the actual approaches that helped them get there? What were the workhorses for enhancing quality and achieving that strategic leverage?
Well, the discussion definitely centered on tools that enable that strategic approach. Notebook LM came up a lot.
Right. We mentioned that earlier, turning docs into a chatbot.
Yeah, but think strategically. One member showed how they fed it all their client briefs, past proposals, internal research.
Wow.
Creating a client-specific intelligence bot. It could instantly synthesize bespoke recommendations for new clients. Huge time saver, plus brand consistency.
That's pretty powerful. What else?
Structured prompting was big, not just using more keywords, but building almost like a mini program within the prompt itself, defining variables, logical steps.
More like coding than just asking a question.
Kind of, yeah. And of course, customized GPTs. Agents trained on your specific data, your tone, to deliver really aligned outputs right out of the box.
Okay. So tools that let you embed the strategy. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, they also talked about automated note takers.
They did. Spend a good bit of time on those.
Tools like Otter, Fireflies.
Yeah, Otter.ai for the real-time transcription, Fireflies.ai for sales and CRM stuff, searchable notes. Read.ai came up too for visualizing meeting dynamics.
So did they land on a best one?
No, it was less about crowning a winner and more about understanding the trade-offs. The core debate was between passive capture and active synthesis.
Capture versus synthesis. Okay.
These tools are amazing at capturing every single word, perfect transcripts.
Right.
But the group highlighted the very real risk of bias in AI-generated summaries.
Bias. How so?
Well, the AI might emphasize certain speakers or topics based on its training, or just miss subtle but crucial human cues. Sarcasm, hesitation, unspoken objections.
Stuff a human picks up naturally.
Exactly. Which underlines why you still need human oversight when you're trying to extract actual unbiased insights. It's not just about factual errors, it's about interpretation.
And that brings us back to Mega's quote, doesn't it? What's missing is precision. Too often, the results are plausible but not dependable.
Precisely. It's like that example you almost gave, asking an AI for a recipe and getting unicorn tears.
Huh. Yeah, plausible in a certain context, maybe, but definitely not dependable for dinner.
Exactly. And that perfectly illustrates the distinction. Capture is not comprehension.
Capture is not comprehension.
These tools amplify our knowledge base, give us perfect records, but they might miss the meaning. Real intelligence, as they put it, emerges not just from collection, but from reflection, human reflection.
It's a good reminder. Great notes don't build great teams. Understanding does.
Right. Echoing that idea, it's not what you type, it's what you teach, both the AI and your team.
Okay, so if we're still figuring out how to get deep understanding from AI looking back,
Right.
what about looking forward? Did they touch on prediction?
They did, and it was sparked by a really compelling question from Dennis.
Huh.
He asked, referring to real estate, what if we could spot signals before a listing hits MLS?
Because MLS listings are lagging indicators, right? They tell you what already happened.
Exactly. His question pushed beyond just reacting to data that's already public. It forced the question, what precedes that listing?
What are the earlier signs?
Could it be certain behaviors on forums, conversations in Discord channels, maybe subtle shifts in the language people use in niche online groups?
Interesting. So looking for faint signals in unstructured data.
Precisely. And the exciting idea that bubbled up was, could AI actually synthesize these early weak signals of seller intent?
From forums, social groups, wherever.
Yeah, long before that data becomes formalized or public, this really pushes into machine learning territory, pattern detection.
Profiling, scraping, forecasting, that kind of thing.
Exactly that. Using AI to analyze unstructured, often hidden data streams for predictive patterns.
Wow. That really changes the game, doesn't it? AI isn't just a generator anymore.
No, it becomes a detector, a forecaster, a strategic lens.
Leading towards AI for preemptive intelligence, not just in real estate, but potentially anywhere.
Absolutely. And that question, that potential, is something they flagged to keep exploring in future sessions. It felt like a big unlock.
Very cool. Okay, so bringing this all together for you, the listener. Yeah. Let's quickly recap the arsenal, the tools and tactics we heard about.
Sure.
We had Notebook LM turning docs into a personal chatbot for synthesis.
That Klein intelligence bot example.
Custom GPTs acting as those pre-trained role-specific agents.
Right.
Prompt templates for reusable inputs. The bigger agent ecosystems, Copilot, Gemini, OpenAI's GPTs.
Platforms.
And crucially, SOP libraries and prompt catalogs. The stuff you need to actually scale what works consistently.
And every single one of those pointed towards execution and leverage.
Right. Translating exploration into actual usable capability.
It's not just understanding concepts. It's about doing things and then scaling that doing effectively.
And you mentioned Bill had a point about learning itself.
Yeah, a really important reminder, touch points matter. Learning becomes transformation when you come back to it from new angles.
That constant revisiting, reinforcing.
Right, exactly. It's not a one and done thing, especially with something evolving as fast as AI.
So how is the mastermind group itself making sure these insights stick, keeping the momentum going beyond just the meeting?
They're very intentional about it. They've built what they call a multimodal ecosystem for shared learning.
Multimodal ecosystem. Okay, what does that involve?
It includes the live collaboration, yes, but also defined frameworks like train, trust, transfer, thematic recaps like the one we're discussing, dedicated tool experimentation sessions, shared libraries of prompts and agents people build. It's all designed to create multiple touch points.
So the learning reinforces itself through different formats.
Exactly, ensuring insights are sticking, and so is momentum. It creates this continuous loop. Learn, apply, refine, share.
That makes a lot of sense. We've covered a lot of ground here, haven't we?
We have.
From that initial, very relatable desire for accurate intelligence, all the way to strategically implementing AI using frameworks like train it, trust it, transfer it. Yeah, we've really seen through this recap how AI is shifting, moving beyond just simple output to become a tool for much deeper insights, maybe even predictive intelligence.
Empowering you to operate with more foresight, hopefully.
Definitely.
So maybe here's a final thought, a provocative one for you to mull over.
Okay.
If AI can potentially detect that signal before the signal in fields like real estate, what might those early faint indicators look like in your domain, your industry, your interests?
Good questions.
What subtle shifts, what forum chatter, what niche data points might hold the key to spotting opportunities or maybe challenges way before anyone else?
And then the next step.
And how might you start thinking about engineering intelligence to actually find them, to listen for those whispers before they become shouts?
That's a powerful challenge. Stay curious, stay rigorous.
And always build to learn.
Build to learn. Good advice. Just like the folks in the Chicago AI Mastermind. That wraps up our deep dive into the evolving world of generative AI.